Welcome back to OT Sports. Today we got our Week 6 Top 25 College Football Rankings. These are always my favorite videos to make, probably because I know the most about college football and college basketball. Those are kind of my two favorite things, but I also do NBA, NFL, MLB. You know the drill. We do these every Monday night. Typically this week it was pushed back to Tuesday night because I did my MLB playoff prediction video yesterday. If you want to go check that out, it's on the channel. And then NFL week picks, game picks are always on Wednesday night. You know when to expect those. As always, if you're new around here, leave a like on these videos and subscribe to the channels to make sure you don't miss it out. Click that notification bell to make sure you don't miss an upload from us over here at OT Sports. And yeah, I was really tired. I was thinking about pushing all of these videos back one day, but I came on here. I stuck true to my schedule because you gotta put the work in. So I came out here and recorded this video for you guys. So I would really appreciate it if you guys showed some support. Comment what you think about my top 25, really anything. But yeah, it's enough talking. Let's get right into the top 25. Number 25, I've got the Maryland Terrapins. Now, they're not ranked in the AP poll, but I think they deserve to be ranked. They're 5-0. They picked up a nice win against an Indiana team last week who isn't the best, 2-3. They're one of the weaker teams in the Big Ten, but hey, Maryland's 5-0. They're in the Big Ten East, so the actual good Big Ten division, and they've been looking good, man. This start this year, got a win on the road at Michigan State. I thought that one might be a little bit tougher. Now I know Michigan State's not a very good team this year, so yeah, they're probably one of the worst teams in the Big Ten East. It's either them or Indiana, maybe Rutgers, but yeah, they don't look very good. But I mean, Maryland's been playing, pretty good to start this year. Tua's brother, he's been doing pretty well. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. I don't know. They look like a very good team, and this week they're going to the Shoe to play Ohio State. Now Ohio State is favored by 20 points, and I was a little bit worried about this game for Ohio State. But coming off the bye, we got a nice rest week after that tough physical game against Notre Dame. Extra week to prepare for Maryland. And I think Ohio State is going to get this one done. It's tough that it was in Columbus for Maryland. I think they can hang around for a little, but I ultimately think Ohio State's just a much better team here. I'm going to say 35-20 in a Buckeyes win. Number 24, Louisville, another Power 5 team that's 5-0. I felt they were worthy enough to be ranked. They got a nice win on the road against an NC State team who it's a little lackluster to start the year. They played all right against Notre Dame earlier in the season, but it's an okay NC State team. Nothing too crazy here. But yeah, Louisville 5-0. We got some. I mean, they've been winning on the road at Georgia Tech. That was a great game, first week of the year. Picked up a win at Indiana, beat Boston College by a considerable amount. A team who was in a very tightly contested game with Florida State, and Louisville beat them by 28 points, and then they just again picked up that win against NC State last week, 13-10. Not a game that I was expecting from them. It was a slower, more defensive game, which is weird because Louisville is a team who has the offensive firepower. Their quarterback is doing all right to start the year. Now he is averaging a whole lot of passing yards per game, probably like 450 if I had to estimate, just from looking at this here. But 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions is not a great ratio for them. Their running back Jawar Jordan. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he's been very, very, very good to start the year, averaging 7.7 yards a carry. And their receivers, looking at their receivers, they got Jamari Thrash. He's another guy who's been very solid. 5 touchdowns on the year already. 22 receptions for 444 yards. They got a nice passing game, but I think so. This upcoming game here, it's at home against Notre Dame. I think that very much does help them. I think Notre Dame's going to run the ball. I think Notre Dame will be able to slow the offense down of Louisville. And yeah, I think Notre Dame's just going to run the ball, play very slow, methodical. How they did against Ohio State. Not go away from their game plan, just stick to it. I think that's what Notre Dame will do. Now, the interesting thing this game for me is Notre Dame has USC next week, so do they look ahead to USC? That's the question that I'm asking myself here when I'm picking this game. They got USC at home next week. This is a 6:30 game. It's a night game, and it's on the road. This could be a trap game for Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame coming off 2 very physical, very low-scoring dogfight style games against Ohio State and Duke, and now they have to go against another ranked team, along with a USC team next week who's been very solid. Obviously, they've been very good to start the year. More on them later. Notre Dame's going to have another good team that they're going to have to take down. I think the Irish have what it takes to win this game. I think they're the more talented team. I think they're going to dominate on the lines of scrimmages, both offensively and defensively. I think their run game will really get going, and I think the defense will be able to slow the Louisville offense down enough, and I think they should win. I got 27-20. I do have Notre Dame covering. The line currently is 6.5 in favor of the Irish. I think Notre Dame should win, but this could be a trap game. Don't be surprised if Louisville wins this game, and if they do win, they'll go a lot higher in these rankings. I can tell you that. So this is a game to keep your eye on. If just watch this game. This could very well be a Louisville win. I would not be shocked. Number 23 got the Missouri Tigers not moving here. I kind of just kept them I don't know. I felt like I didn't see anything that I needed to move them down. I didn't see anything I needed to move them up. So yeah, they won 38-21 at Vanderbilt. Good for them. Not too sure how legit this Missouri team is this year. I mean, they beat a Kansas State team who's not impressed me very much this year on a last-second field goal. So it's hard to tell how legitimate this Missouri team is. It's kind of just, there's a lot of SEC teams in this range that they kind of get thrown into the rankings just because they're undefeated and in the SEC. And obviously they'll pick up a nice win, here and there. But yeah, I mean, this kind of happens a lot in the AP pool, especially with SEC teams. Now Missouri, again, I don't know how legitimate they are. We'll see this week when they have LSU coming to town, and then next week again with Kentucky. They have a very rough stretch of games. these next 6 games for them: LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina. A team who's 2-3, but they are. I mean, they're a very solid team. Um, they've lost to Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina, all teams that are ranked, and I think they're still a very, very, very good team. So they'll have LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and then Florida. Again, I don't know if Florida's really all that great, but I don't know how good Missouri really is yet. So we'll definitely see this week. But I think LSU should. I think LSU's a lot more talented than Missouri. I think they should be able to win this game. I'm not too worried about it for them. They had a very, we'll talk about LSU later, but I think they should be able to win this game. I'm not really considering the upset here too much. I think it could be a high scoring kind of game. I kind of have it, yeah, LSU 37, Missouri 23, so not like a shootout, but the Missouri offense has been pretty good, but I think LSU should be able to win this game. Number 22, Tennessee, another SEC team. They looked pretty good against South Carolina. I was actually pretty impressed with them. Maybe I could have moved them up a little, but I don't know. I didn't really feel the need to, so I kept them at 22. There you got a game against Texas A&M, who, another one of these SEC teams that I'm not so sure what to think about. Now, they lost to Miami week 2, but since then they've racked up some nice wins against Auburn and Arkansas, an Auburn team who almost beat Georgia this week. We'll talk more about that later. But this game is next week. I just realized that. So, no game prediction here for this one. We'll get to that next week. My bad. I was gonna go into this and say who I was picking here, but this is a next week game. So, yep, I probably should have realized that, but it's all right. Next up, Kentucky at number 21. And yeah, they dominated Florida. I predict this. I didn't predict they would dominate, but I did predict Kentucky to win. I wasn't so sure about the Florida Gators. I didn't know how good they realistically were, and Kentucky really gave it to them. They dominated them the whole game. Looking at Kentucky's roster, because I really don't know what their identity really has. So it looks like they've been a rushing offense. If I had to guess, they have a very solid running back in Ray Davis. He has 600 yards, averaging 7.8 a carry, and 8 touchdowns. So he's been very good. 8 touchdowns in 5 games. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think this Kentucky team. I said this with Missouri and Florida in the past. I don't know, Auburn, A&M. I just said it with them. I think out of all those teams, I think Kentucky is the best. I think this Kentucky team is legit. I don't know. I just looking at what they've got going here. They haven't really played anyone, so maybe that's what it is. The best team they've played is Florida, but they've got a very, very tough schedule down the road, so we will see how good this team really is. But I don't know. I think Kentucky's a very, very, very good team. Now they have to go at Georgia this week, which will be very tough. Georgia's favored by 14.5. I think Kentucky will cover. I think it will be kind of a low-scoring, kind of boring game. Now Georgia's a team who in the past has been very solid at lines of scrimmage, but this year not so much. They haven't really. Well, we'll get to them later, but I don't know. I don't think Kentucky has what it takes to beat Georgia, the top dog in the SEC, quite yet. I just don't think they're there as a program, but I don't know. I feel like Kentucky could give them a chance. I mean, Auburn gave them a run for their money, so maybe Kentucky can do the same. I do think Kentucky's a better team than Auburn, so I don't know. We'll see. Kind of see. But I think Georgia, I don't know. It's hard not to pick Georgia. I'm going to take them here 24-13. Number 20, LSU moving down 5. They picked up their second loss, eliminating them from the college football playoffs on the road against Ole Miss. I had them winning originally in my season preview way before the season started. I had Ole Miss winning. I switched it, and I shouldn't have switched it because I was right the first time. Ole Miss. I don't know. This was kind of a weird game, kind of a back and forth game. Looking at the box score, I mean, it doesn't tell the whole story, but if you just look quarter by quarter, Ole Miss dominated the first quarter. LSU had a very solid second quarter and third quarter. They were up a lot of points heading into the fourth, and they fell apart in the fourth quarter. I think Ole Miss scored. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I think Ole Miss scored a. I mean, they definitely rallied in the fourth quarter. That's for sure. Um, I mean, they were down 42-34 going into the fourth quarter. LSU kind of had control of the game for a while. I mean, Ole Miss got out to a hot start. LSU kind of slowly came creeping back. They eventually got control of the game. And then Ole Miss had that late comeback. This was a very, very crazy game. But Ole Miss got the win. They got the job done. And LSU sitting here at 20. This is a team that I almost had winning the SEC West in the preseason. And it's tough. I mean, already with 2 losses for them, it is tough. You got a game at Missouri this week. I think they should be able to win. Kind of talked about this a lot, but yeah, I mean, it sucks for LSU. I mean, I had them ranked 4 going in. They were in my first top 25, all the way down at 20 now. I don't really know what to think about them. I mean, they looked pretty good, but they did lose. I don't know. It's just, it's. I mean, it's tough. Jalen Daniels is a special player, but I don't know. You just got to win that game. So, yeah, it's tough for them, but not much you can do. And you're gonna have I think I'm predicting a bounce back week against Missouri. I think they should be able to win. Um, yeah, maybe everyone was just a little too high on them going into the year. Maybe that's why the expectations were too high. They fell quite a bit short of them. But I mean, if they win out, it's a very successful season in my opinion. If they win out, they'll probably. I mean, if they win out, they will go to the SEC championship. And I don't know, Georgia's looking not the best this year. They could make some madness happen, but I mean, the playoff chances are very. I mean, the playoff chances are below 1%. I mean, they're probably not done just because they are in the SEC. So if they do win out, there's a small chance, even with 2 losses, but it's probably non-existent. The playoff hopes that is for them. But I do think they'll win this week at Missouri. Number 19, Utah, moving down 9 spots. This was a team that I was finally coming around on. I was becoming very high on them, and dropped down 9. Their offense just isn't good without Cam Rising. I mean, if Cam Rising plays this game, they probably do win. This was a very boring game, in all honesty, to be watching. I was out, but I was checking the score. I watched a lot of the highlights, and man, both these teams didn't look too great. Now Oregon State was the one that won, but man, Utah's offense just looks bad without Cam Rising, and it really is sad because with them, I think they win this game. Both the defenses from both teams played very well. I think with Cam Rising, Utah's a top 10 team, but they haven't had him to start the year, which is really, really tough. They have a bye week this week at Cal, so no game prediction yet. But after Cal, they got USC and Oregon back to back. Hopefully, Cam Rising is able to play by then. But, I mean, man, if they had him, they would be so much better. But Nate Johnson has 500 yards through 5 games, 3 touchdowns through 5 games. I mean, he's just not any good. That's really it. That's all I gotta say. They have one game where they scored over 30 points, and that was against Weber State. The defense has looked elite, but you can't do much when you're putting up 14 points a game. So, it's tough for them, but I mean, the playoff hopes are still there. They're still alive. If Cam Rising comes back, this team is very dangerous, and they could definitely still win the Pac-12. I'm not counting them out yet. But, yeah, you'd like to have a win in this game, but I actually don't remember who I picked in this game. I'm sure it was the old, if Cam Rising's playing, I'm taking Utah. If not, I'm taking Oregon State. I'm sure I said that. I just don't remember. But, yeah, they got the bye week this week, so hopefully they can get healthy because when they're healthy, man, they are a scary team to play. It's just if they can get there. Number 18, Duke. I have them moving up one even with the loss. They proved to me that they are a very solid team, and they could definitely compete against Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, Clemson for the ACC title this year. Even Louisville. But, yeah, this Duke team proved that they are a tough team. They do not go away easily, do not give up easily. They took Notre Dame down to the wire. They had to score a last minute touchdown on them. Man, they're a good team. I was very impressed. I was not expecting, I thought this game would be pretty close. I didn't know, I didn't expect Duke to be in control of it for the majority of the second half, but they were. They were the better team in the second half. They are a very tough team. But Notre Dame, I think the trench play really just. They're so solid on the lines of scrimmage, and. But Duke did. They played a hell of a game, and I moved them up one even with the loss. I think they're a team that could. They could win the ACC, really. I'm not even sure how good Florida State is quite yet, so they could do it. I wouldn't be shocked. Up against NC State this week, or not this week, sorry, next week. So no prediction here. Yeah, they got the bye, so they'll have some prep time. And then after NC State, they got Florida State, so we'll see how they match up against them. Number 17, Miami, coming off the bye. They played Temple 2 weeks ago now. Now they got Georgia Tech coming to town. I'm keeping this short and simple. Should be a very easy win. Not much to talk about here. They move up 3, just kind of because teams in front of them move down. But, yeah, not much to talk about here. They're coming off the bye. They should get a win there. UNC, another team coming off the bye. They got Syracuse coming to town. I think Syracuse maybe will be in this game for a little, but I said that when they were up against Clemson last week. They weren't really in that game ever, but I don't know. I'm saying it again. But I don't know, Drake May's got to pick it up. He has only 5 touchdowns and 4 picks through the first 4 games, so. But their rushing game has been very solid. I think North Carolina should win this game, but and they're another team. A lot of these ACC teams, I'm not too sure what to think about them yet. Maybe when they start playing each other, we'll get more of an identity for them. But you know, um, yeah, like Miami, I'm not quite sold on yet. UNC, Louisville, Clemson. I mean, I think I'm sold on Duke, Florida State. I mean, even Florida State, Duke and Florida State, really. I'm very intrigued to see who comes out of the ACC this year. But I think North Carolina should beat Syracuse here. Number 15, Ole Miss. We talked about this game. I mean, they won. Um, they were the better team in the first half. Uh, you know, they didn't give up. They fought till the very end. So I'm sure Lane Kiffin's happy about that. Upcoming game against Arkansas. I think coming off the big win, Arkansas might give them a little troubles. Arkansas was in a game down to the wire. LSU had to win on the last second field goal. And, Ole Miss just came down to the wire with LSU. So I think this game will be a very solid game. I feel like Ole Miss might be riding the wave a little too much coming off that big win. But I do think they should still win. Number 14, Oregon State. We talked about this game already also. They didn't look all that good. I moved them up 3. I don't know. DJU, I'm just going to call him that. He's been on and off really to start this year. I'm not too sold on him quite yet. The defense looks very good, but again, Utah was without Cam Rising in this game. But I mean, they still on 7 points. So yeah, they picked up a good win against Utah. Now, this game, I believe this is this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Oregon State should have no problems here with Cal. Maybe Cal hangs with them for a quarter. I don't really know, but I think Oregon State should be able to win. Pretty easy here. Washington State coming off the bye. So nothing to talk about them here for last week. They move up 1. Upcoming game against UCLA. I'm not really sure what to think about UCLA quite yet. They lost to Utah. Dante Moore hasn't looked too good to start the year for UCLA, that is. UCLA is actually favored by 3.5, which is very surprising to me. Yeah, UCLA. They're giving UCLA a 66% chance to win this game, which, I mean, I'm that that surprises me. Uh, wow, that's actually very surprising. I don't know about that. UCLA coming off the bye. I mean, both these teams coming off the bye. I'm not too sure about that 3.5 UCLA is getting. I think Washington State. Maybe it's because it's a road game. I don't know. I think Washington State goes in there and handles them pretty easy. I don't think Dante Moore is anything special. Is maybe there's something I don't know, but I think Washington State should be able to win. Cam Ward's been phenomenal. He's a dark horse Heisman contender. I'm not even joking with that when I say that. 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns through 4 games. I mean, come on. That's some good stuff right there. I think Washington State has a very solid performance at UCLA. I think they win. Number 12, Oklahoma. They handled business against Iowa State. Iowa State kind of hung around. I mean, I wouldn't say hung around, but Oklahoma's defense didn't look too good in the first half. They looked a lot better second half. The offense again looked very solid. They kind of laid off the gas in the second half, and Oklahoma's a team that I'm starting to to hop on the train for them. They have looked very good through the first 5 weeks. Now again, who have they played? The best team they've played is probably SMU, maybe Cincinnati. But I mean, Cincinnati's 2-3, Iowa State's 2-3, and then SMU is 3-2. So and then the other two teams they played are Arkansas State and Tulsa. I don't have to consider them. SMU is probably the best team they've played. They beat them by 17. Now they go on the road at Texas. This is a very good test for this Oklahoma team. And I thought about this one for a while because, I don't know, I feel like this Oklahoma team could give Texas some problems. I really do. I think the offense is I'm interested to see how Texas defense looks in this game. I'm expecting a shootout game. This game is usually high scoring. I'm expecting that. Texas favored by 6.5. I think Oklahoma State, or not Oklahoma State, I think Oklahoma covers that. I think this is a game down to the wire. It's my fault that it's green. It should be red because Oklahoma's losing. At least that's what I think. I think Texas wins by 1. I think this is a very back and forth game. Just offenses going absolutely nuts, both of them. But I almost picked Oklahoma. I had them, and then I switched it right before I made this. But I had Oklahoma for a while in this game, but I don't know. It's hard not to pick Texas, man. It's really hard not to. I'm going with Texas. They have it at home, too. That's a huge advantage. If this was at Oklahoma, I'd probably pick Oklahoma. But going on the road again in a rivalry game is just so tough in college football. I mean, even just normally on the road, it's just so tough. So I'm taking Texas here. 11, Alabama. They looked pretty good against Mississippi State. Jalen Milroe. Seems like they've kind of figured out how to use him. It was against Mississippi State, so you could take what you want from that. Mississippi State's 2-3 now. They're not looking too good, but I don't know. Jalen Milroe had a nice game, at least I think. I haven't really looked at what the box score said. Okay, so he had 164 yards passing, 69 yards rushing. That's 2 rushing touchdowns, though. It's a Justin Fields stat line right there. We'll talk about the Bears tomorrow because nobody wants to hear about them. I think they're starting to figure out how to use Jalen Milroe. Now they go on the road at Kyle Field, Texas A&M. This could be a huge win for Texas A&M, and I don't put it past them to win this game. I really don't. I think they have a very real shot at winning this game. If there's any year they're going to do it, it's this year. This is the weakest Alabama's win in probably a decade. And, it's at Kyle Field, Texas A&M, a team who lost to Miami in week 2, but has been pretty good since then. And, if they win this game, they'll be back in the top 25. I can guarantee you that. I think Alabama wins, but I think it's a very low-scoring game. I think it's close, but I think Alabama wins. I think there's a lot of field goals in this game. I don't know why. That's kind of just the vibe I'm getting here. But it's hard to really pull the trigger on some of these upsets. I was very close to doing this one too, and I'm thinking about it right now if I want to switch it. No, I'm gonna stay with Alabama. I can't go against. I don't think Saban is gonna let A&M win this game. I'll take Alabama, but I mean it's a rivalry game on the road. I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna take Alabama here, 23-17. I'll take Alabama, and then Notre Dame. We talked about this game. Yeah, Notre Dame just their trench play is ridiculous. They have some of the best. I mean, maybe the best trench play college football. Their offensive defense line is so strong, so physical, and their running game is again one of the best in the country, with Audric Estime leading the charge. And got a game against Louisville. Again, we kind of talked about this. I think this could be a trap game for Notre Dame, coming off two very physical, low-scoring games against very good teams. Um, this one is now on the road, and they got USC at home next week. You can see on their schedule there. Yeah, they've had a pretty tough stretch of 4 games. If they can, if they beat USC and Louisville, the rest of their schedule's pretty darn easy. At Clemson could be tough in Death Valley, but the rest of it looks pretty promising. But they gotta win this game first. I'm telling you, this could be a trap game. It's on the road, right before USC. Um, I would not put it past Louisville to win this game. I really wouldn't. But I'm gonna trust the Irish. They've looked very good the past 2 weeks against two teams who are very solid teams. I'm gonna trust Notre Dame in this one. But again, Louisville could do some things. Oregon picked up a nice win against Stanford. No struggles there. Stanford, I don't know what the decision process was with kicking their field goals. You're not going to beat Oregon by kicking field goals. I can promise you that. So I don't know what that was about. But that's what happened. So kind of weird there. But yeah, Oregon wins 42-6. Bo Nix is looking like a Heisman contender. I mean, Bo Nix has been phenomenal to start this year. I haven't really looked too much at his just individual stats so far this year. If I could pull it up, that would be great, but this is being weird. Bo Nix, almost 1,500 yards, so around 300 yards a game. 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. Man, he's been very, very good. And the running game hasn't. I mean, they have a lot of guys contributing in this running game. Now that I'm looking at it, apparently a D lineman got a 18-yard carry. I don't know what that's about, but I mean, they've got 2 guys. It's looking like here in the run game. Bucky Irving is the main guy, but Jordan James is the goal line guy, it appears, just based on the touchdowns and yards. And in a receiving game, Troy Franklin has been very, very, very solid to start the year. And I expect him to continue that. Yeah, Oregon's not moving. And their upcoming game at Washington, this is obviously next week. Not this coming week. They're on a bye. But man, this game's gonna be fun. I'm very, very pumped for this to watch this game unfold. Another Pac-12 team, USC, a team who dominated Colorado for the majority of this game, almost let them come back and win. Their defense has been saying this all year. Their defense, man, it's what's gonna come back to kill them. They were winning 34-7 in the second quarter, and they let Colorado have it. Colorado had a shot at winning this game. Caleb Williams had 6 passing touchdowns not in the first quarter, but he did have 5 in the first quarter, or not in the first quarter, sorry, in the first half. But man, this defense is I'm getting worried for them. Really. I mean, man, it's gonna kill them It really is. Um, it's gonna let them down at some point. I just can't see them going undefeated with this tough of a schedule too. Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, Oregon. Um, I mean, it's just they play all the good teams in the Pac-12. They do avoid Oregon State, who could maybe give them problems just because Oregon State's defense is so solid, but I don't think they would. And then Washington State, that would be a 63 to 61 kind of game. That would be insane, but they don't have them. And this week they got Arizona. I think Arizona will score on them. Um, Now, obviously, USC's offense is going to score too, and I think they'll score more because I trust them a lot more than I do Arizona. But man, this defense it's going to come back to kill them. Now, the offense is the best in the country, but the defense, man, I'm telling you, it's going to come back to get them eventually down the line. Penn State at 7. Um, Tied at halftime with Northwestern. I don't know about that. That's not too good. I didn't move them. I was thinking about jumping Oregon over both USC and Penn State. I held my tongue on that one. And then this week, they got to buy UMass next week. They should have no problems. But Drew Aller's been pretty good to start the year. Washington had their first kind of struggle game. Arizona's actually not too bad of a team, and it was on the road. Road in conference games are always tough. I'm not too worried about them here. This was really their first struggle game. Every other team has had at least one, maybe even more. So, you know, I'll give them a little bit of a pass here. Maybe they were looking ahead to Oregon. They are on the bye this week, though, so not much to say there. Number 5, Florida State, staying the same, coming off the bye last week. Upcoming game at home against Virginia Tech. Now, they were home against Boston College and almost blew that, but I don't see them struggling here. If they do, I might have to drop them a bit. I will say that. They beat an LSU team who has 2 losses already. Not too sure what to think about LSU this year, and then struggled on the road against Clemson. I will give them a little bit of a bye, but they were outplayed for most of the game. I will give them a little bit of a pass there. It was on the road. Clemson, a rivalry game. On the road, that's a tough one, but so I will give them a little bit of a pass. And they did dominate Florida State in that second, or not. They did dominate LSU in that second half. So, but that struggle game against Boston College is really tripping me up. If they didn't have that, they probably would be, up there with the 4 teams in front of them, probably ahead of some of them. I don't expect them to struggle here, but if they do, I might have to drop them down a little, but I'm not predicting it. And number 4, this is the big change. Georgia moving down 2. I'm tired of this. I can't just keep them at 2 any longer. They just don't look good. Carson Beck doesn't look good. This isn't the normal Georgia team that we're used to. This isn't the team that will run the ball down your throat, pass when needed, and be good in the passing game. And this is a team that's always had a tough defense, one of the best in the country, obviously, and they do have a very good defense, but the D-line and O-line strength that they always have, the trench play's really been their strong suit over every team they played. And I was listening to Joel Glatt show. It's very, you probably know him if you're watching me, because, he's a big college football guy. In the college football world, everyone, if you're a college football fan, you should know him. but he was saying how Georgia the past 2 years have been top three in run in yards per carry allowed. This year they're like 60th. The run defense isn't there. The run game isn't there either. They gave up like 250 yards, rushing yards to Auburn this game. It's just they don't look good. They don't look like the number one team in the country, and I don't think they look like the number two team in the country. I had to drop them down too. At least I felt. Back-to-back struggle games. Well, I don't actually. Was it back-to-back? I'm trying to remember now because they might have played UAB the week before this. Yeah, they did, but so they struggled against South Carolina. They struggled against Auburn. It was at Auburn, but I mean, still, Auburn's not that good of a team. Now, home against Kentucky, I don't expect them to go out and score a lot of points. I do think they should win, but Kentucky will be probably the best team they played this year. And if they lose this game, man, or even if they struggle with this game, I can't. There's no way they're number one in the AP poll next week. I just can't see. And I hate how the AP poll takes into account the reputation and how they've looked the past couple of years, because that's the only reason Georgia's number one. There's no nobody can. There's no argument for Georgia that Georgia's looked like the best team in college football this year. I mean, there's just no argument. I would argue they might not even be at least look like a top five team this year. And man, they're worrying me a little. Now they probably will go undefeated and win the SEC, but the SEC's I don't know what to think about them this year. They don't have anyone really standing out, and Georgia doesn't have a tough schedule at all. So, I mean, yeah. Number 3, Ohio State. I have them staying here, coming off the bye. Just, I had them staying at 3. We talked about this game already. I think Maryland could hang around for a little, but it's at the shoe. I don't see Ohio State losing this one. Number 2, Texas. I have them swapping with Georgia. I have them jumping over Ohio State, and the reason is I was worried that they were going to play down to their competition. That's kind of how they've been in the past, and they did do that against Wyoming. But the past 2 weeks have really proved me wrong. On the road against Baylor, they dominated them, and then home against Kansas, or ranked Kansas. Now they were without Jalen Daniels, which is huge, but Texas looked very, very good. Yeah, especially in the second half of this game. But I mean, they were the better team throughout the whole game, and a 40-14 win. That was very impressive. I'm sold on Texas. I think they are definitely a college football playoff contender and definitely a national championship contender. Hopefully, we can see consistency from Quinn Ewers, because he's still not perfect, but he could definitely get there. He definitely has the potential to get there. We talked about this game kind of already. Home against Oklahoma. This is kind of the big game this week. I don't think any other game is really on the level of this one, if I'm correct. Yeah, this is by far the best game this week. I think it's a shootout, but I think Texas is ultimately the better team, and they get it at home, which is huge. So I think Texas wins this. And then Michigan staying at number 1. Not too worried about them. They haven't looked. They finally covered the spread in the game on the road against Nebraska. I thought it'd be a little closer than this. Ultimately, Nebraska is not a very good team. And, Michigan, again, Joe Clout was talking about this. Michigan's like a boa constrictor. They move slow. They don't, they're not, they move slow, but once they get you, there's no escaping it. You're done. So, they're not a big play team. Slow, methodical drives. They don't switch up their game plan. They stick to what they know works, and once they get you, man, there's no chance for you. So Yeah, they dominated Nebraska here, 45-7. Um, and the defense has looked like the best in the country. The offense has been very good too. At Minnesota, I don't see any problems here. Minnesota's a bad team. They are a team who lost to Northwestern. So, you know, yeah, Minnesota's not really any good at all. Michigan favored by 19. I think they cover. I don't know. I'm just not worried at all for Michigan. I think they proved themselves this week as the number one team in college football, at least in my opinion. But yeah, it's gonna be the video. Kind of a long one. These videos are usually pretty long. Uh, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'd really appreciate that. As always, my Discord and X are linked in the description. You can join that. You can follow that. Whatever you would like to do. We do college football every Monday night. This week it was a little different, but usually every Monday night. NFL videos every Wednesday night, and then usually MLB Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, sometime over the weekend. Um, but you know the MLB season is coming to a close. I made my playoff prediction video yesterday. You can check that out if you would like. Um, and you know basketball season's right around the corner, so stay tuned for that. We do NBA and college basketball, both of them. So you know the heat of video production and making is just around the corner. Because once college basketball gets up and running, we'll probably have 4 videos a week, one of each NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL. So that will be fun for you guys. Um, so yeah, subscribe, stay tuned for that. And then obviously college football and NFL are a weekly thing we do every week. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you're new, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it, and comment what you think about my top 25. What your top 25 would be, and just whatever you want to comment. Just I'll answer it. I'll respond to it. So yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow with NFL Week 5 game prediction.